Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lady K Chat Podcast. I am your host, Lady K, and I thank you for tuning in with me today. Today, I'm going to talk about those payday loans. I don't know if you ever borrowed from one, but if you thought about it, don't. Please tune in today as I tell you the insightful information, how these companies make more money and they keep you in debt. So tune in right now.
The following podcast is a Lady K Enterprises production.
Lady K.
Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to Lady K Chat, a podcast that is designed for all women to become better versions of themselves, which is broadcast every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Various subjects will be speaked upon, such as relationships, personal development, health and wellness, wealth building, children, and so much more. She is a two-time Amazon best-selling author, an international speaker, and life coach. She is Kalima, aka Lady K. And now for your host, Lady K.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in into this episode called Payday, and I thank you for listening. Today, I would like to tell you a story about a man named Mr. Clark, and Mr. Clark is an activist on payday loans, and you know why he became an activist on payday loans? Let me tell you something for the people who's unaware. Payday loan lenders can charge as much as 700% in interest. And let me tell you what's so unique about Mr. Clark's story, and this is why he jumped on, because enough is enough. So about a couple of years ago, Mr. Clark's wife, she fell and hurt herself and she was out of work for a while, and then she required surgery. So because she requires surgery, now they're on one income. Mr. Clark, doing what he's trying to do best for his family, he tries to go ahead and take out loans. When he applied for the credit unions in the bank, because he had a credit score of 610, they would not extend the credit to him. So long story short, he went to the paydays. He took out five $500 loans, which equivalent to $2,500. The $2,500 that he took advance from those loans, he ended up paying just in interest alone $475 every 2 weeks. And just to break that down, that's $95 from each loan. Can you imagine paying that within overtime? And here's the thing about it. Mr. Clark did that for 5.5 years. And he said it cost him. He said, but he had to do whatever it took for him to get that debt paid down. He did odd jobs. He made sure that his kids were taken care of because they were in college. Again, the wife couldn't work. They lost their house. They lost their car. They had to end up renting a place. And I know for anyone who has purchased a house, I know that's a great accomplishment. But I do want to tell you this. The house is not everything. It's not everything. So sometimes, when we make the sacrifices, things happen. I know sometimes people try not to beat themselves up, but it's hard when you work so hard to accomplish to buying a house, but it's okay because you can always bounce back, and Mr. Clark did just that. So once he was able to pay everything off, and then on top of that, he had to pay his wife medical bills, which was a total of $26,000. They didn't have much money left. And when he tried to reach out to friends and family, they didn't have the funds either. And this is why it is so important for us to focus on building a community. It's so sad that sometimes you can't even loan your friend, your cousin, your sister $500 because you don't have it. Because you know why? Because we work 9 to 5s in and day out, and sometimes we work over 40 weeks, and it's just enough just to get by. But at this day and age, I'm telling you, people, we have to get a little bit better. And I understand sometimes in your circumstance, that's the reason why you're there. And then sometimes also too, it's because of poor money habits and uneducated things. Like, I'm sure Mr. Clark, he didn't realize what he was getting himself into. This is why he's an advocate. He didn't know, but he was desperate because he had to make sure he had to provide for his family. And he did just that. And I commend him. I really do commend that man for busting his butt for 5.5 years. But the next time somebody want to bust their butt for 5.5 years, I hope it's because they're trying to build something up and not trying to pay someone back. And just to give you a kind of an idea of how much he paid back, he paid $50,000 in interest. Did you hear me? Within 5.5 years, he paid $50K in interest. Do you know what he could have done with $50K? He could have invested in his children's future. He could have did something for himself. He could have started his own business. Something. He could have put away. He could have had that money away for a rainy day. It is crazy and unimaginable that you have to pay $50,000 in interest on a loan that was only $2,500. That is nothing but robbery. And then on top of that, here's the kicker, y'all. The agency is called the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, also known as the CFPB, which is for the payday loan people. They had a hearing on June 2nd in Kansas City, right? And it was all about for them to reconsider the interest that they charge. Mr. Clark is the activist who is trying to put a cap on the interest rate for the pay loans. So at this time, of course, they're going to argue and they're going to clap back. So at this time, the organization is saying that right now, the government is not regulated to do that to them. Do you hear that? They taking advantage of innocent people. Yes, they go ahead and put the information in the small print, but they know where to go. They know what neighborhoods to target. They know what to do. But I think that's nothing but robbery. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, that Mr. Clark is an activist for this, if we continue to stand, if we get involved, and they know there's multiple of us, then they have no choice but to change it. But for one person trying to do that big man job, it's impossible. I mean, yes, he can, but it's all about the support. We have to support one another. We have to get into the mode that we have to also put in our 2 cents. You don't have to do a lot. I'm not asking for you, but let's do something. This is crazy. $50K in interest. Please put how you feel in the comment about this man paying $50K in interest. Can you imagine that was your father? Could you imagine if your mother hurt herself and your dad had to go out there and provide for you, and you see him day in and day out doing what he have to do for his family? Yes, you appreciate your dad, but you wish you can do something. This is why it's time for us to get in position. You can do something. Your parents took care of you. Yes, it's their job to raise you till you get on your own, but we also want to make sure that we give it back to our parents because they paved the way for us. We don't have to do what our parents did. There's so much resources out there that can put us in a better financial position. So parents, and I'm sure Mr. Clark did this, once he realized what he did, educate your kids. Make sure your kids don't go that route. And also, too, I'm sorry, please just don't stress to go to school. Please stress that your child find a residual income. Yes, why do I love talking about that? Because it's essential. That's essential. Residual income is essential. Anything can happen at any given moment, and we have to be prepared. I hope this message bless you. I'm always grateful to be on this mic to talk to you. I always want to provide information to help people. So again, I hope you just took some insight and you took notes and to become a better you. Continue to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Lady K Chat and on my website at www.ladykenterprisesinc.com. Have a blessed night, everyone.
Lady K.